Trent Copeland claimed his fourth five-wicket haul of the season and his third in the LV County Championship, as he took a championship best of 7 for 63, although that was not enough to enforce the follow-on on the third day against Leicestershire at Wantage Road. The visitors had responded well to Northamptonshire's 355 by racing to 89 for 1 at the end of the second day of this local derby, and they continued to excel at the start of the third one. Greg Smith had every right to be pleased with his efforts. Brought into the four-day side for the first time this season, he launched a rasping cover drive to reach his half-century off his 77th delivery. That was his 10th four, and he'd quickly put his side into a decent position in their reply to the home side. But things soon started to unravel for Leicestershire. In the next over, Smith was out for 51, carving a Copeland delivery straight into the hands of Matt Spreagle. Ramnaresh Sarwan could have been run out for a duck. A mix-up in the calling between him and his partner Ned Eckersley almost had both batsmen at the same end. A more accurate throw from the deep would have done for Sarwan. Copeland had picked up both openers, and he now dragged one back off the surface to trap Eckersley in front for 25, a wicket which left Leicestershire on 115 for 3. And that became 116 for 4 3 balls later, when Josh Cobb lost his off stump. He may be losing his confidence too, having made only 75 runs in 7 first-class innings this summer. Copeland has made an outstanding start to his Northamptonshire career, and he was only denied a fourth wicket here as Ben Duckett, the debutant wicket-keeper, missed Sarwan's edge before lunch. But the West Indian still had his pads off by the time the break arrived, Copeland reacting to his misfortune by trapping Sarwan in front on 19. The follow-on avoidance target was 206, and that wicket had put Leicestershire on 134 for 5, but when Matt Boyce settled in with the dependable Shiv Thakur to add a further 47 runs for the 6th wicket, the follow-on looked remote. But then Copeland bowled Boyce off the inside edge for his third fifer of the 4-day season in just his 5th match. Thakur now needed to keep his eyes set to make sure nothing silly happened from here. But then the runs dried up and wickets fell at the other end. Jigger-Nate was another to find Copeland unplayable and was LBW for a couple. Ollie Freckingham was another to go in the same way, this time off the bowling of David Willey. And when Andrew Hall joined in the fun by having Robbie Williams taken behind, a great moment for Duckett standing up, Leicestershire had slipped to 203 for 9. So 3 runs were needed to avoid the follow-on and open the game back up a bit. Thakur supplied a boundary as he remained cool amongst the mayhem. A batsman with a very solid defence, he was now showing another side to his game, having been left with just Alex Wyatt for company. It was yet another fine innings from the 19-year-old England under-19 all-rounder. This boundary took him to his 4th 50-plus score of the summer, and it was his 10th score of at least 50 in the first-class game from only 24 innings. Averaging in the mid-50s overall, he's made a very bright beginning to his career. The hope is for him to now develop his game even further. He was left stranded on 64 here when Wyatt gave Copeland his 7th wicket and his 4th LBW, which shows just how straight he bowls. He ended with figures of 7 for 63 as Leicestershire were dismissed for 234 to trail on first innings by 121. And that was enough for Northamptonshire to push on, although they lost Spreagle to his second ball as Freckingham found some late swing to keep the umpire busy once more. More time was then lost to the light, and so now Northants had to really play some shots to get far enough ahead to put pressure on their opponents on the last day. Both James Middlebrook and David Sale struck sixes as they tried to make up for any lost overs. They were both exquisitely timed shots. For Leicestershire, it was all about keeping the run scoring down to give them as little time as possible to bat out the game on the final day. But with both batsmen looking to play aggressively, that wasn't going to be easy. This pair quickly added 63 runs in 13 overs. Sales had made 31 of those, but he then chased a wide ball from Wyatt and edged it behind. As the day drew to a close at just before 7 o'clock, Northamptonshire took their lead to 213 and would have been happy that they could come out for a bit of a hit on the last morning. But the last couple of overs set them back as they lost 3 wickets. On 43, Middlebrook nicked off as Freckingham struck for the 8th time in the match. And that became 9 4 balls later as Rob Newton stretched for a drive and toe-ended it to Eckersley. And then to the final ball of the day, Alex Wakely edged Wyatt to Smith, leaving the hosts on 94 for 5, not exactly where they wanted to be. They will now be relying on the lower order once again to ensure that they don't give this game back to Leicestershire on the last day. Northamptonshire are still favourites though. They go into the final 3 sessions with a lead of 215, and they won't want to wait too long to have their opponents back in to face Copeland et al.